Welcome to Auto Mundial, the home of all the latest car news and reviews. This week we're checking out the most powerful car Hyundai has ever made, the ballistic Ioniq 5N. With all-wheel drive and a simulated gearbox, can this souped-up EV really provide petrol car thrills?
We've also got VW's facelifted T-Cross and the new Range Rover Sport SV. Is it really worth its colossal price tag?
Plus, a new electric crossover from Smart, and, hang on, is that a Volvo van? Find out later on. Up first, the news.
British luxury car maker Bentley has released its sales figures for 2023, revealing that more customers than ever are opting for bespoke personalisations on their cars than ever before. Across Bentley's range, there are more than 46 billion possible combinations of colours and options, but Bentley says around 3/4 of buyers went beyond those to create unique vehicles. In total, Bentley sold 13,560 cars, its third best year on record, but 11% down on 2022. Around a third of cars sold in the UK were hybrids, while 70% of cars globally were top-spec Azure, S, Speed or extended wheelbase models. The Bentayga SUV was the Cheshire brand's bestseller, accounting for 44% of all cars sold. North America remained the biggest market, followed by China and Europe, respectively.
Smart is in the process of totally reinventing itself. Following the launch of the #1 in 2022, the Geely-owned brand is no longer limited to tiny two-seater city cars. And now their second new model is here, the #3. No, we've no idea what happened to the #2 or why they insist on us pronouncing the hashtag symbol, but the new #3 continues the marque's push upmarket. Borrowing much of its underpinnings from the #1, but gaining a powertrain option, the #3 is a small electric coupe SUV, priced from a reasonable £33,000. And it isn't just the technical bits that are familiar, the styling is too. The curvy looks do look rather anonymous, with little connecting it to smart cars of old, apart from the badge, but it is an attractive car, about the size of a VW ID3. Step inside and you're greeted by a cocooning centre console with plenty of storage cubbies and a big, bright 12.8-inch infotainment screen. There's a second digital display ahead of the driver, and the impressive standard tech doesn't stop there. There's a 360 camera, LED headlights, powered boot and even a panoramic roof. Powering the #3 is a choice of battery and motor combinations, with the most appealing option being the Premium. This offers a 283-mile range with a 262 brake horsepower motor powering the rear wheels. 0 to 62 takes a sprightly 5.8 seconds onto a top speed of 112. There's even a hot Brabus version with 422 horsepower doing the sprint in just 3.7 seconds. The new Smart #3 is on sale now, with deliveries expected in the spring.
It seems that just about every sensible family SUV these days has a performance version, with buyers looking for cars that tick every possible box. Everything from Ford crossovers to luxury 7-seaters are available with a big engine and terrifying fuel economy. And now it's Land Rover's turn with this, the all-new Range Rover Sport SV. Another product from JLR's Special Vehicles department, the Sport SV is quite simply the most powerful car ever to wear a Range Rover badge. It's also, to our eye at least, the best looking iteration of the Sport yet. The standard car looks like what it is, a cheaper version of a proper Range Rover, but this new SV looks angrier thanks to its new lower body kit, enormous alloy wheels and 4 exhaust pipes protruding out the back like a quartet of fanfare trumpets. The old SVR proved surprisingly popular, but gone is the bellowing supercharged Jaguar V8. The new SV instead gets a BMW-sourced 4.4-litre twin-turbo V8 mild hybrid setup, producing a healthy 626 brake horsepower, nearly 60 more than you got from the old 5-litre supercharged car. The result, 0 to 62 in just 3.8 seconds and a mind-boggling top speed of 180 miles per hour in a Range Rover. Naturally, the chassis has been thoroughly reworked to handle all that power. The biggest change is a very clever new hydraulically cross-linked damper system, just like you get on a McLaren supercar. Best of all, it retains its locking diffs and off-road driving modes, ensuring it's still a proper Range Rover when you take it off-road and hit the trails. Not that you'd want to be doing much green landing in it though, because this is an expensive car, a very expensive car. From launch, the Range Rover Sport SV Edition 1 is priced from £185,000, although we expect cheaper versions to follow later in the year.
VW is currently busy revamping its lineup of SUVs. We've seen the new Touareg, which we liked very much, and the revised T-Roc. The new Tiguan will be launched this year too, so how about this? The smallest in the range, the T-Cross. Essentially a jacked-up Polo, the T-Cross has been on sale since 2019, so it's about time it got a midlife refresh. Available to order now, the new T-Cross boasts some updated styling and new standard equipment to help it stand out in this particularly crowded segment. The eagle-eyed among you will have already spotted the restyled front end with a new bumper, grille and LED headlights. Meanwhile, at the back there's a new crosshatch bumper design and more modern lights. Changes have also been made in the cabin, where you find a redesigned dashboard that Volkswagen says is made from higher quality soft touch plastic and a new 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Higher spec models like this one though get a bigger 9.2-inch unit with optional backlit slider controls for climate control. Standard equipment includes a multifunction parking camera, road sign recognition and LED headlights. Step up to the higher trim levels and you gain 16-inch alloys, a leather steering wheel and some sportier styling details. Under the bonnet, the T-Cross retains the same 1-litre TSI engine, available with 94 or 109 brake horsepower, with a 1.5-litre option developing a healthy 148 horses.
As we mentioned though, this class is getting crowded and the T-Cross isn't the only contender to get a recent update. This is the Citroën C3 Aircross, but not as you might know it. The original car looked cute and cuddly like a jelly bean on wheels. The new one though looks rather angry, which Citroën says gives it a more assertive personality. Well, that's as may be, but it is certainly striking. Changes to the interior are minimal, with some new trim options and improved infotainment, but driver assistance has been improved. The Aircross now comes with enough kit to rival the V4, with automatic emergency braking, speed sign recognition and headlights that can dip automatically. There are some more optional tech updates too, including a head-up display, top-down parking camera, as well as some trick off-road gizmos like hill descent control and selectable grip control to help make the most of the little Citroën's ground clearance. Despite its off-road credentials, however, the C3 is strictly two-wheel drive, with engine options in the UK limited to a 3-cylinder 1.2 petrol engine with either 108 or 128 bhp and a pair of diesel options with 108 and 118 bhp respectively. On the road, the Citroën is pleasingly tactile with a satisfying manual gearbox and a willing selection of engines, particularly the petrol 3-pot, which thrums away with a sense of urgency. It's not the quietest car on the road, but it is comfortable with excellent ride quality, something Citroën has long been famous for.
But while the C3 is still our class favourite, there's so much variety in this class that there's something for everyone. They might just be high-riding super minis, but the increased suspension travel generally means they're comfier around town and still just as easy to park. The new T-Cross is on sale now, priced from just under £24,000.
After the break, a luxury van from Volvo and an electric hot hatch from Hyundai.
Coming up, Hyundai's rapid new Ioniq 5N. But first,
late last year, Volvo shocked us by declaring it would no longer sell estate cars here in the UK, a body style synonymous with the Swedish manufacturer. It felt like Heinz announcing it would stop making ketchup, leaving the remaining 56 varieties to take up the slack. In Volvo's case, that meant a series of SUVs and crossovers. Not even the saloons remain. Now though, Volvo has revealed its first non-SUV product for its new generation of electric cars. It's called the EM90, and yes, it appears to be a van. Thankfully though, it is a very posh one. Taking on the likes of the VW ID Buzz and Mercedes V-Class, the new Volvo EM90 is an upmarket MPV for families who have outgrown the more traditional estate car. In practice, we suspect it's going to be more popular with chauffeurs doing airport runs, as, compared with the hordes of stylish SUVs it's going up against, it's not exactly a looker. It should at least be as practical though, as the EM90 is massive. It's the size of a Range Rover and just as heavy, with the aerodynamic efficiency of a 2-bed semi. Despite its bluff front end though, Volvo claims a hugely impressive range of 458 miles on a single charge. An enormous 116 kWh battery powers a single motor on the rear axle, producing 272 horsepower. 0 to 62 takes 8.3 seconds, pretty brisk for a 2.8 tonne 6-seater. Inside, the EM90 is more airport limo than Friday night minicab, with 4 large armchairs and a plush rear bench. A massive 15.4-inch infotainment screen dominates the dashboard, while an even bigger screen folds from the ceiling to entertain the second and third row passengers.
However, Volvo isn't the only manufacturer looking to expand into the Mercedes V-Class posh MPV market. Now Lexus is having a go too. This is the all-new Lexus LM, described by its maker as a luxury mover. The LM is more than just a builder's van with some recliners in the back. Like the Volvo, it's not based on any existing van and is instead a purpose-built luxury MPV. Everything has been designed around comfort for those in the back, with a 3-metre wheelbase maximising legroom and the option for either 4 or 7 seats, with the former offering individual armchairs and a 48-inch TV screen on the partition. There's a 23-speaker Mark Levinson audio system and a climate concierge that uses thermal sensors to precisely control and direct heating and ventilation. Leather is standard and all seats have been designed to minimise head sway, something Lexus says is a leading source of discomfort in traditional van-based MPVs. 246 brake horsepower comes from a 2.5 litre petrol motor with a CVT gearbox with an electric motor that can power the LM electrically for short distances. Unsurprisingly, a van like this doesn't come cheap, but in the few short months it's been on sale here in the UK, Lexus has racked up hundreds of orders for the £90,000 LM.
Volvo, though, is yet to confirm whether or not the EM90 will make it to UK shores. But while it's refreshing to see manufacturers putting some faith back into MPVs, if it comes at the cost of the estate car, we'd rather they kept it.
Hyundai's N division has done an incredible job of turning some of the brand's sensible hatchbacks into some of the most exciting budget drivers' cars on the market. With fizzy engines and snickety manual gearboxes, cars like the i20 and i30N are everything a petrolhead could ask for in a small package. Now, though, they've turned their attention to something a bit different: the Ioniq 5. It's one of our favourite EVs, thanks in part to the glorious retro futuristic styling that looks like a 1980s vision of a 2024 hatchback. With its high-riding setup, though, the Ioniq 5 is more of a crossover, but that hasn't stopped the N division from building this, the Ioniq 5N. And from the off, the performance add-ons have only enhanced the 5's already brilliant design, with sporty red trim, enormous alloy wheels and a purposeful-looking diffuser that any hot hatch would be proud of. The front intake is bigger than the standard cars to aid battery and motor cooling, while the functional diffuser is complemented by a relatively modest rear spoiler. It's now 8 centimetres longer and 5 centimetres wider and sits 2 centimetres lower, giving the 5N an aggressive new stance. The reduced ride height comes courtesy of some adaptive dampers, the first of many chassis tweaks designed to make the 5N handle as good as it looks. The 21-inch forged alloys are wrapped in bespoke sticky rubber from Pirelli, while the body itself has been stiffened throughout with 42 extra welds and over 2 metres of extra adhesive. And it doesn't stop there. The N division engineers have used their World Rally Championship know-how to make the front end rear subframe stiffer and increase the performance of the electric motors. And that's where the Ioniq 5N gets really interesting. Using a new feature called N eShift, the Ioniq 5 replicates the feel of a high-performance petrol engine, complete with a paddle shift simulated gearbox. In the pursuit of making this the most driver-focused EV out there, the torque dips and builds to replicate the experience of a petrol car, while the speakers play a petrol car's soundtrack as you hammer it around a track. Alternatively, you can turn all of these functions off and enjoy its true performance as a very quick electric car. Turn all of the settings up to 11 and the Ioniq produces 641 brake horsepower, enough with launch control to propel the Hyundai from 0 to 62 in 3.4 seconds onto a top speed of 161.
However, the Hyundai isn't the only fast EV to come from Korea. This is the remarkable Kia EV6 GT, a car that when we tested it last year left us in no doubt that electric cars can satisfy even the staunchest petrol Puritan. Using the same platform as the Hyundai, the EV6 is another unexpectedly rapid electric crossover, although it's not quite as powerful. It produces 577 brake horsepower, 64 less than the Hyundai, but it's no slouch. 3.5 seconds to 62 sounds quick, but it feels even quicker, especially with the more than 2 tons of ballast barrelling along underneath you. It's breathtakingly fast and quite uncomfortable, but somehow it never gets boring. Flick the bright green GT button and the stability control is slackened, providing hints of oversteer, but it never leaves you feeling overwhelmed. Power is sent to all four wheels via two electric motors, one on each axle, with the rear motor handling the majority of the power. The adaptive suspension does a good job of keeping everything in check, while the bigger brakes, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres and limited slip diff complete the dynamic makeover.
While nothing will ever replace the thrill of a fast, highly strung petrol car, it's good to see that already manufacturers are building fun EVs. The best thing though? The price. The Hyundai is on sale for just £65,000, half the price of a comparable Porsche Taycan. The Kia is cheaper still at £62,500, and there aren't many ways of going any quicker for the money.
Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we look at the latest electric car from Citroën, the super stylish EC3. Don't miss it.